Happy Sunday, everybody. My name is Scott Mendenhall. Welcome to this amazing group of people that come together to point you in a direction to make your life better and make you better at life. If you don't get that, understand that. We're going to unpack a big thought today. It is, how do you know what my purpose is? That's a big topic today. I don't know if you're wondering why you were put on this earth, what you should be going off after, especially in the new year. We're excited about the topic. We're also going to give you a little bit of behind the scenes on the budget for 2024 at Unlock Church, so you're in the know, especially those that give. And we right from the get-go, thank you for everybody that is generous over 2023. You allowed Unlock Church to be the hands and feet of Jesus and do some really, really cool things. Like today here locally in Minnesota, the temperature is what, Lily? Do you know?
Well, I can sure look for you. Good morning, everyone.
This is Lily. She's one of the mainstays.
It's -9 degrees.
-9 degrees.
-9. I don't know if you can see that on my phone. That's crazy.
-9, that's a temperature.
Wind chill advisory.
Yeah, we got that. That means
that's crazy.
That means don't go outside unless you're stupid, okay?
Insane.
But we've braved the cold to get here today. Think about it. Last year, Lily, when it was -9 or colder, we were in a garage freezing our toes off. But not
believe it.
Today.
I can't even believe
We're
it.
we're warm. Like, I'm on the verge of breaking a sweat a little bit. We got Steven over there on the soundboard who makes it sound good every week. He's shoeless right now because the heated floor is keeping his little piggly wigglies warm. And so, it is cold, and here locally we're giving away heaters. We have over 100 space heaters that we're going to give away. First come, first serve. So if you're watching, you're in Minnesota, and you're in the need of a space heater, come to Man's Theater in Champlin, Minnesota, and we'll hook you up. It's free. No strings attached. It's going to be awesome to give those away. We were loading them up in trailers to take them there the other day, and it's like, this is so exciting to be able to see needs and meet needs here in -9 degree temperatures, which feels like -30. It's all kinds of craziness. But we got a familiar face, but not so familiar to hear. We got the one and only Chris Gilbert in the studio today.
Good morning.
And that's his voice. That's his real voice. It's deep. It's a radio voice.
Good morning.
My radio voice.
Yeah, you got a radio
You do
voice.
have a
I've heard
good
some people
radio
say you had a
voice.
face for radio. Is that a good thing? Is
That's
that
what
supposed to
they
be a compliment?
mean.
I don't think
Oh
so.
my gosh. He thought, oh my gosh.
He gave the wink to us in the
Yeah.
studio.
I was like, that's what they mean.
Chris is definitely the jokester. He'll have the puns and he'll have the dad jokes all morning today, so hang tight with us. It'll be
Oh,
a
you
great day.
set some amazing expectations. I do not think I'm going to be able to meet that. We'll see.
I do like how you and I are rocking the flannel
Yeah.
today. I don't know if that just is indicative of how cold it is. or
That's
it's-
exactly what it is. You wake up inspired to wear flannel. I have 2 shirts on. I got
So
a
do
long
I.
sleeve
So,
underneath.
Yep. I got my Burton snowboarding shirt underneath this. Lily's got a cardigan buttoned up. You wouldn't unbutton a
this
cardigan today because it's not fashion today. It's function.
Well, it's fashion.
It is?
Yeah.
You
I
are-
couldn't unbutton this because the shirt I'm wearing underneath isn't long.
Oh, you are khakkied out
I'm
today.
not like wearing it for, this is for warmth. And also, I think it looks
No, that
nice.
doesn't give
I
you
am
any
khaki.
warmth.
This is khaki,
Khaki
and
up.
so are my pants. Look.
Yeah. And so's your shirt. It's all khaki.
Yeah, I'm
So
a brown monochrome.
Yeah,
today.
it's pretty much. Have you ever remember the Gap commercials?
like a mom
Straight
with
Gap
a scarf on.
commercial right there. It's great. I don't even know what you're saying.
I look like a mom with a scarf on.
Oh, a mom.
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought you
looking
would
at
say
myself in the.
monochrome, and I
well,
don't. even know.
monochrome is yes, it's brown
Yeah.
monochrome.
And then we got the one and only, and this is where we throw on our headphones. That's me communicating to Chris
There you
because
go.
he's new to this. We get our headphones on so we can talk to Mr. Dwayne all the way down in Mississippi. How we doing today, Dwayne?
Good morning, guys. I'm good.
It must not be that cold there because you in a t-shirt.
You in a.
I'm in a t-shirt. It's 20
But-
degrees though, so it is cold for Mississippi.
Did
It's
you
not
say
negative
40 or
9.
20?
20.
20. Yeah, that's chilly. My mic cable or my headphone cable is hooked on something, so I can't. It's a short leash here today, folks. We can't have that. That's not going to be any good. There we go. Problem solved. There we go. Dwayne, I don't know if you saw this, but I was on the phone with Chris yesterday. I was running outside. I ran 5 miles. And I still got a bone to pick with Chris because I'm running and talking to him in really cold temperatures, Chris.
How did your phone
I know
work?
this.
I had it as close as I could to my body. But Chris,
I know it was cold.
like towards the end of it, I was like, thanks for running a little over a mile with me. He's like, you only got a mile done in this?
Oh
I was
my
like-
gosh.
Bro, it's not even
So
zero.
were you going slow?
I was going slow. Yeah, I was doing a 10-minute mile pace.
That's great.
I was running in
That's-
trails that are downhill, snow on it. I almost wanted to go, hey, buddy, hey, Chris, why don't you get in your little car and come over here and just keep
You
up
give
with
this a try.
yeah, come keep up with me.
Well, I'm just used to you running 6-minute miles.
Oh,
I knew
yeah,
you were
yeah.
on the phone for, I don't know, it was about 10 minutes. It's
It
probably
was,
fair.
yeah.
And so I was just
neither
shocked.
one of us were outside running yesterday,
No.
so
But here is
no
a
way.
picture.
I was running to my car.
This is the picture of the aftermath, Dwayne, and everyone watching today of running in negative temperatures
Oh, I got
while
that.
running.
Yeah.
You look crazy.
The frosty face.
To Dan, who told me Wednesday, he had wrote in the chat, Scott, your beard's looking burly. It's for
Cold.
moments like that.
Very exactly.
If I trim that down, Chris's is much more fashionable beard than me.
Yeah.
It's not.
Great shot.
It's because I can't get mine to go nice and straight and manicured like yours. Mine just goes wiry and crazy, so I don't like it.
Well, Dan the other day was saying it was burly, but I almost trimmed it and then I was like, wait, it's gonna be so cold for like a week. No way, not doing it.
Wise.
I was able to run in my face, my cheeks though. On the other hand, they're still a little tender today. But it's okay. Got 5 miles done. Negative temperatures. Gotta love it. It's exciting to be able to do those things. It's what makes running so extreme. But Dwayne, he's a runner. He'd have never done that. Dwayne, right? When it's that cold, what do you go do?
Oh, I'm on the treadmill.
I'm on a treadmill.
I'm on the treadmill. Now, in 2020, when I first started running, I did go to the trails, and like I did experience the little bit of icicles.
It's a rite of passage.
Been there, done that, moved on.
Don't
What?
need to do it again.
Well,
Check the box.
we don't know if I would have really defaulted to a treadmill because I don't own one. So the options are not available for me. So it is that or nothing. And I wasn't going to sit around yesterday. I wanted to get out, get moving. And after you get past a mile, everything warm. Before that, you start questioning your sanity of like, I can't feel my toes. Will they ever warm up? There's no checking your watch either for time or pace because that would expose some kind of skin.
So speaking of sanity, Scott, is there a temperature which you will say, I'm not going to run, I'm going to choose an alternative physical activity?
No, I don't think so because I've run in colder. I think a negative 20 real temperature has been the coldest I ran. And there was nothing, the worst experience in that was I couldn't keep my eyes from freezing closed. It was not, it was just, that was not fun. Lily just gives a shake
I
of
just
her
don't
head
even
no.
understand.
What?
I'm just going to shake
No,
my
I'd
head.
rather fitness inside.
But I'd rather be able to
I like
go.
to work up a sweat when it's, however cold it was.
Yeah, but when and you pointed me to the book, Chris, so this is part of, this only fed me.
Oh, no.
Was it Comfort Crisis or something was
Oh, yeah.
the book?
The
And
Comfort
in there
Crisis.
he talks about like 89% of people, or a large amount of people spend 89% of their time indoors.
Yes.
That's
True.
the average human spends 89% of the
Except
day.
for when I'm running from my home to my car.
That's
There
right.
you go.
So your 11% is just in transit to office and whatever, or taking your dog out or whatever you
From
do.
one comfortable space to another.
That's right. That's right.
And so I thought of that yesterday. It's like that. I would be a part of that statistic today. No, I'm getting out there.
Good
I'm
job.
gonna get out there, run.
No kidding.
I ran. I one wheeled
Hey,
yesterday.
Chris, I think he needs a high five.
Yeah, I'll take it.
long
I'll
distance
take it.
high five.
Go.
Reach in there.
Be
Way to
careful.
go.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Yes, be careful.
Thanks for allowing us to talk about those things. It's just fun, just sharing that picture of how cold it is and what the cold does to beards when they're not fashionable but functional. So we are really excited about today's topic. How do you know what my purpose is? This is a big question. I think so many people spend so many years and days of their life asking. Another way to ask it, what is my why? That's one of the common ways we put it here. What's my why? But then we have come up with a way. I don't know. When I was a youth pastor, helping young people figure out what I'm going to do with my life, graduating seniors from high school. What should I do? What should I pursue? And I came up with a question that I am taking credit for, but I'm pretty sure it's not original. It's somewhere along the line, Chris, Lily, and Dwayne. I probably read it or heard it. I heard it this week from another communicator this week talk about this question. So it's an applicable question in the new year. We're going to give you the question that you should all be asking this time of year, but not right now. You need to hang. But it's going to help you in a journey down the road. It's going to help you figure out what your why is, your purpose, how to know what my purpose is in life, how to make your life matter or count. I mean, right, Chris? This is a big topic.
It is a big
Yeah, yeah,
topic.
He
It's
just
a lot.
looks at him
it's a
Chris
like,
just nods his head at me.
Yeah, well, it's a lot to take in. I mean, right? These are big questions. For those who know my story, I had a little midlife crisis at like 20, 21 years old. trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life because everything I'd been building up for, I was debating.
Right.
Had a second heart, a little change of pace.
But even as I got to know you when we first met, 8 years ago, we pulled somehow, Chris. I should have put a picture up of. Maybe I'll find it during a video here or something. But 8 years ago, when we were at the community center launching Unlock Church, starting the church, I'm just gonna say you have a little bit more white in the beard.
A little more gray, yeah.
Than you did in that picture.
It's not even gray. You're right. It's white.
It's white.
It's white.
Which I think that's the goal. I think people like white versus gray. All
right, I'll take it.
White is white's the goal.
Wisdom.
It's wisdom. It looks good. Gray, I don't know.
Every stressful moment my kids have ever given me
is that right?
Results in a white hair.
Shoot, you only have 2. I'm in trouble.
No, you're doing great.
It's because I run in negative temperatures. It gets the gray out.
Shocks your system.
Yeah, we're not going there.
It's a reset.
But even early on when I met you, we spent a lot of time talking about whys. What's my why? How do you know what the why is in life? I think it's a question I think we all ask and have to refresh. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I think.
Yeah, it's a check.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good way to put
It's
it.
just a frequency. Kind of like every year you set, well, what did I accomplish this year?
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of a reset. Okay, knowing that, what am I looking? What's my next step?
Right.
What's my next journey? Where am I at? Yeah, it's a gut check.
I like that. It's a gut check. It's a next. So we're going to help you process that and give you the next for what Unlock Church is doing in 2024. We have an audacious vision for even Unlock Church, because as a leadership team, we sit down and go, what's our next step? And so as a maybe viewer, but we don't like calling you viewers, you're part of our community, you're part of Unlock Church family. Even if this is your first time, man, come back, set reminders. If you live in Michigan, Tampa, you live in up in Vermont or New Hampshire, or you live in California, Washington, here I am trying to cover
Minnesota.
Yeah. If you live in this or on this planet, then we want to give you just behind the curtains of Unlock Church, because we want to be authentic in what we always do in communication, and we always want to be trustworthy, as we know people give their tithes and offerings to Unlock Church, which is resources, money. This isn't when we say those things, this isn't a normal YouTube channel where it's just a YouTube channel and hey, we're about subscription or people subscribing and all. We don't care about the algorithm, though we should. It's more about just, are people connecting, giving their life to Christ, and are we partnering with them to unlock their God-given greatness? Or are we pointing them in a direction to become more like Jesus? And in doing that, becoming a follower of Jesus makes you better at life, makes your life better. It's just all packaged in there really nice. And we, as an organization, always want to be transparent. That's why Chris is in here. He's part of that leadership team. He is eyes on, hands on the functioning budget of Unlock Church. Dwayne is on the leadership team. So every week we have somebody from the leadership team that sits in here every week, making sure we're communicating right. And he loves the trajectory we're on. So Dwayne's here, part of that leadership team. Lily sits in on the leadership team as part of the staff member of Unlock Church. She's really everything. If she isn't here, my shirt would probably be buttoned wrong, and it would be we'd just be all mess. Is that right, Lil?
Yeah, for sure.
But she runs the student ministry, and then she does take care of a lot of details to make things go and work, so that I can do some of the things that I excel in, which is plan. But outside of plan is like dreaming, like what's the next teaching, where are we going, trying to lead the organization from the leadership team all the way down to kids ministry, students, when should we give out these heaters, even talking to outside churches, which we call partners. They come in and they help us do our missions trips. You might even be watching today from Texas or North Carolina. We got all these heaters from a church in North Carolina that we have a relationship with. They're going, hey, we just got close to 200 heaters. Could you use them? Because in our state, we can't. Maybe today they could, potentially. I don't know how cold it is there. I know it's pretty cold in the south at the moment. But they gave them to us because we were going to do what we're doing today. So that's the quick nutshell of a bit of like the nuts and bolts of Unlock Church. And we're trying to be transparent today as we talk about how do you know what my purpose is in life, and when I talk about your purpose, right? So we're going to unpack all of that along with Unlock Church, and we're going to get to the nitty-gritty numbers of Unlock Church. So if you're a numbers person, where's the money go? How are they planning on spending it in 2024? We're going to download all of that today, and I hope that excites all of you that call this home. So that's going to happen today, along with trying to help teach you as we live it out, figuring out what's the why, the purpose of Unlock Church in 2024 and beyond, and how do you get to the greater picture of we want to be a church that's around after 100 years. Well, if that's the goal, you got to do some things today, planning with the end in mind, just like we as humans. What's your ultimate goal? Who do you want to be in 10 years? Well, then you got to back up today and go, well, what do I need to implement today to get there in the future? And so that's a lot. That's all just setup. That's just the setup, right, Lil?
Right.
Okay.
Lots more to come.
Lots more to come. We got pink on the fingers. Doesn't really match the. Should we have gone to brown?
Well, when you do your nails, you don't change it per outfit.
What?
Some people might, but not me.
My daughters do.
Not me.
Why?
That's just something I choose to not do.
Lily competed yesterday.
Who's got time for that?
Chris,
Who's
did you
got
know that Lily competed yesterday in a big old competition?
I did not
It
know
wasn't that big. But yeah.
Was there more than just your team there?
Yeah, there were 12 teams.
12
in my
teams,
division.
Lily. What?
That's a big enough competition.
Thank you. In a CrossFit kind of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, guess what place did she finish in? And then Dwayne, we're coming to you.
First.
Okay, first. We got a first. Dwayne, what do you think? Right in the chat. Also, what place do you think it was a team? It was two-person
Wait,
team, right?
Who was your partner?
Heather.
Heather. And
A
so
female.
First.
So she was an all-female team, and then there were a couple all-men team, and some that were men and women. So it's two-member
Do you
team.
change your mind now?
Okay, there were all-men teams, and that out of 12, what do you think our one and only 5-2 on a good day,
No.
5-1 on a good day?
How about 5-1 regularly?
Right.
Get there, 5-1 regularly?
Yeah, I was just trying to give her a little bit of height there, and she
Someone the other day was like, what do people mean when they say on a good day?
they got heels on,
And
they
I was
put
like,
socks
just don't
in.
listen to them.
You just hung on a bar for a bit. I'm going
Right.
to stretch you out. So.
Stretch out a little bit.
So 5'1", she would like to go on record. She's 5'1", which is the average height of a
I'm
woman.
not 5'1", guys.
What are you?
I'm 5'3".
5'3" on a worst day. Now we don't even
So
know.
weird.
It's we don't even know. No, Dwayne, what do you think? What do you think? Where did she finish?
I'm gonna say 2.
Second place. Woo! So we got a first, a 2.
So am I splitting hairs if I ask the question, was there a men's division and a women's and a co-ed division?
We competed against each other.
Competed against everyone. Man,
Yeah.
it's 2024. What do
I
you think people
know.
are going to do these days?
The men had different standards and weights, but we competed against them, which was the first time.
So is that considered like a handicap? Like in golf, if you're not a good golfer and you're in a league, you get a handicap.
Well, I mean, the
You
results
bowl,
will
you get a
answer
handicap.
that. The results would probably answer that. We were the first female team to win, like out of the other female teams. But the
So I'm taking it. I'm claiming it.
the placement was first place was male female, second place was male male, third place was male female, male male, and then we were in 6th. Tied for 6th.
Hide for 6.
Yeah.
I thought you were third.
No.
Oh, that's disappointing.
No, we got third place.
First.
We got third place in a couple events, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
First to finish, third in a couple events, 6th overall.
Yes.
Is that a good summary?
Yes.
Fair summary. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, my
how
body
do you
feels like
feel
I
about
got
it?
first, so it's no different. It doesn't feel any different. Just depends on who you compete against.
How do you feel about that?
Great. Yeah.
Does it inspire you to want to do more and get better?
Yeah.
Or you're like, yeah.
You should have ran in the
Totally.
cold. It would have helped.
Totally. I look at what are my wins from the day, and I have them. So it was good.
Good. We're proud of you,
Yeah.
Lil.
There you go. Fantastic.
Okay, so then it leaves us. We got to probably ask the 2 remaining, and then we'll get to it. The chat is speaking or alluding to that we're speaking real fast today. I must
they
be speaking
are.
fast today.
Yeah.
They said it's the coffee. I don't drink coffee at all. I'm just amped about today. It's a big day today. Honestly, I sometimes my passion gets translated into speed. Because of the excitement I have to talk about what we're going to talk about today. Giving away heaters, a leadership team meeting today, planning the future and all those things. So I get excited about those things, and I just do talk fast. Katie, I know you in not being able to hear and using, is it Pocket Talk?
Pocket talk.
I know that means it's going to translate weird words. I could slow down, but I don't think you would enjoy that very much. Okay. Chris, okay. Yes.
Sorry, I'm
you got
stuck on Pocket Talk. Is this
Oh, yeah,
this is the
It's
the
a
app
translator.
that
Yeah.
picks up auto captioning, right?
Yeah, so, well, you sound like you know more than us. Katie uses it every week to keep up with us, and some weeks she asks us to slow down.
Of
Because
course.
Pocket Talk, when Dwayne talks, puts potty words in his mouth. She says that...
Only Dwayne, though.
Only Dwayne.
It's
Dwayne
the
gets
southern
potty... Yeah.
accent.
No. I'm the worst. I'm the worst offender.
He's the worst. Oh, he wants to go on record. He's the worst offender that Pocket Talk gives him the most potty mouth words, but he would like to go on record that we do get a few here and there. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry,
Right.
that tech fascinates me. So for those who don't know, I have a son who is deaf and he relies on cochlear implants. But there are times where cochlear implants aren't working, batteries are dead. Sometimes at school, translation doesn't always come through right in a noisy environment. And so this Auto Talk what is it called? Auto Talk?
Pocket.
Pocket Talk.
Talk. I've not heard of that one, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yep, she uses it every week. And so, sometimes she does ask questions of like, hey, it translated this way. What does he mean? Because it doesn't always make sense to her. But we love having her,
That's awesome.
her family in from Michigan. And she and her husband are doing great. We've been praying for her husband on the prayer list at Unlock Church. And even me saying that, like, as a church, we're not just creating content for consumption online. It is genuinely a community. As Katie's husband, Steve, got diagnosed with cancer, went right on our prayer list, and we've been praying and knowing that they're stepping into having to go through just the process for trying to get rid of the cancer. Unlock Church here in Minnesota and online have been praying for her family, but also heaps of other people. So if you're not part, or you don't get the email that Lily constructs every week, she creates it out of thin air every week. You do a great job. We just applaud that right now. It's a talent. It's a skill.
It's
Let's
also
put-
not that hard.
No way. She creates
But
the
you create
images.
the visuals.
But you
exactly.
can
Yeah.
go to unlockchurch.com.
Oh, she's trying to skirt it.
/
That would-
contact and then put your info in if you want to be subscribed to the email list.
Yeah, you want to be.
Yes, you do.
You want to be because of all the cool things that are in there. Some business stuff that we put on there because, and this is me getting even premature, but here's why we'd want you part of that is that we need help with reviews of Unlock Church, even Unlock Church Online. We are trying to step up our spreading of the invitation of Unlock Church digitally, globally, and locally. And as we are working with some outside companies to help us do this, they're going, hey, do you realize that you have no Yelp reviews, no Facebook reviews? So we would ask, especially if you're in a digital capacity right now, to go to facebook.com, go to Unlock Church, and write a review of I Watch Online every week. And then periodically, we'll try to remind you, constantly updating that. We looked the other day because we're always on to the next creating. Hey, we got to create something about heaters, giving them away. We got to create camp. We got to do mission trips, all of these different things. We forget to go manage those things. And we looked and we had 15 reviews on Unlock Church. And 2 of them was somebody upset about our camp audio being loud. And out of 8 years to have 15 reviews, it looks kind of not the best. You know what I mean? Like, I was shopping for, what was I looking for? The girls, my girls wanted to spend some of their Christmas money and they were going to get a digital camera to take pictures. You know what I went to is the reviews to go, what are other people saying about this? Is this a good camera? Is it too cheap? And so I went to the reviews and all of a sudden I'm like, this is what people are doing when they're making decisions. Do I log on to digital Unlock Church? Do I show up at the man's theater? They're looking for these reviews and they're non-existent. So I think it makes them feel a certain thing of like, is this a big enough risk for me? It's like buying a product. Oh, do I want to be the first one to buy this product? There's no reviews.
Right.
So if you can go to Unlock Church on Facebook and leave a really cool, whatever you want to write, but that'd be really cool. But weekly to do that. Hey, this Sunday was so cool. And we're going to do better at posting every Sunday. Hey, this is the topic. Here's the link to this. And just to have comments on those things would be great. And then Yelp, right, Lil? So,
Yelp and Google.
And Google.
I just put that in the chat.
There you go. Yelp, you go to just Yelp.
Just search. So if you go to Facebook, search Unlock Church, like the page, leave a review, and then like it says, would you recommend this place? And then the same for Google, just Google Unlock Church, and then Yelp, just Yelp Unlock Church. Will come up.
So on Facebook, Katie's asking, where do I leave the review on Facebook?
It says, like, you'll see it. It says leave a review, and just click that and type in your review.
There you go.
It's pretty straightforward.
Those things, honestly, we are learning. We're on a heavy learning course on how all those things matter in people finding Unlocked Church here locally, globally, and digitally. It's crazy. We had no idea. It's also embarrassing that we're 8 years old and we've not done any of these things. None of them. And so we're excited about where it's going to go. But we need your help. And I think it'll be really cool for people all over the world, even those that watch later in the week from New Zealand, to write a review. It's like, oh, wow, look at heaps of people are enjoying this. So
I think another point of addition on that is if you leave a review and you're watching online, say, I watch online.
Yeah.
And give that review.
Yeah, it's great. For
Yeah,
sure.
I think that would be, it's all helpful. And we'll get into more nuts and bolts on that stuff a little bit later. But again, our topic is, how do I know my purpose? And what is my purpose in life? Before we get to that, we're going to go to Glorious Day. It's a worship song. We like to use this just to give everybody a pause in your week. Maybe you're freezing and you're like, I'm over the cold. Maybe you're excited about it. Maybe you had a rough week, great week. We just don't know how everybody comes into the chat today. But this is a moment of reflection, a moment of what we've been talking about, of worth, giving worship to God, and just recentering our aim, our target. What's our target this week? Is it about my kingdom or Jesus' kingdom? And so here's a great song to help us do those things. And then we're going to really start to unpack this. We're going to give you the question that makes it really easy to figure out your purpose and your why. It's one question that you're going to see that is woven through Scripture. And so it's a fun topic. We'll be right back after Glorious Day. Enjoy.
I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. The old made new. Jesus, when I met you, you called my name and I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness into your glorious day. needed shelter. I was an orphan, but you called me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you are my healing. Your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open, 'cause when you called my name, I ran out of that out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that out of the darkness into your glorious day.
Okay, I love that song. I really, all the songs I play here, I love. They get you going. It's a little bit of coffee, if you will, but more through a song. And that song just is a good reminder that, man, when I enter into a relationship with Jesus, I'm called out of the grave and now I'm alive. And that's the exciting bit. The past is forgiven, though we as humans, we spend so much time dealing with the past. There's something, I don't know why I am wired this way, but I don't look back often. Like, I don't think about my time in Florida very often, outside of the things I learned strategically to lead an organization, but I don't look back and think about my time when I was swimming the ocean. None of those things. It's back there. Somebody might remind me at some point, or there might be, like the other day we had somebody who grew up in our student ministry in Ohio. They're a pilot now, and they drive jets for famous people. And they needed to come to Minneapolis to drop off a jet for someone. And so they came, dropped it off. Hey, I'm in town. Can I come over? They've never been to our house. It's been like, I don't know, close to 19 years since we really got to hang out with them. And they came to the house. And then that moment, I went backwards for a bit because they were talking about remember wins of things, but I just don't do that. I'm always fixed on where we going, how we getting there, not in a record speed or anything. It's just looking forward. I think the more we spend backwards, we get sucked into regret of I didn't do or I did. And neither one of those are paralyzing and can really jack you up. So I always picture life being like a car. You have a massive windshield because you need to be focused on where you're going, in a small rear view mirror to glance backwards. We're trying to teach Legend how to drive. He just turned 16 and you're just trying to teach him. You glance at the mirror occasionally so you know what's going on or where you've gone past, but you look and fix your eyes on the future. And that's what we want to talk about today. Fixing our eyes on the future. We want to be looking forward, not necessarily going backwards, but it's okay to look backwards a little bit, not very, very much. And so I've been reading a book about World War II. I told Chris he should get it, and it's called D-Day. I forget the author now. I should have wrote it down. Who was it? You said it was.
You told me.
It was Stephen? Now I need to look it up
No doubt.
So that I can tell. You said he does.
I can think of David McCullough because he's the other famous historian, author, well known, did a ton of things, especially around
Stephen
American
E.
independence.
Ambrose or Ambrose?
Ambrose?
Ambrose, Ambrose.
Ambrose.
Yeah. It's a good book. Like, if you want to go backwards, me talking about backwards, the only reason I'm going backwards is to learn things on such a big day in history where the Allied forces drop in on Normandy Beach and how many things had to go right. And that's what Chris said blows me away, Dwayne and Lily. The thing that blew me away about it is, like, me as a novice World War II guy, had no idea, or it wasn't taught in school, all of the things that had to go right, from the tide, from they needed at least a quarter moon. They needed the clouds to not be there. They needed the tide to be coming up a certain amount. So they could not get on the beach. It was get back off the beach. And that was interesting that they weren't worried about getting on it because we had figured out over 2 years, they knew that they were going to be going on to a beach. So they'd begin to develop tanks and boats that would be amphibious. Is that right?
Amphibious.
Yeah. So they developed over 2 years all of these things. They didn't know what beach they were going on, so they had that part sorted out. It was the fact, though, if you got onto the beach and because they were going to beach everything, how do we get back off quickly? They needed the tide to be rising as they were landing, not at height, so they could get out of there.
Wow.
Interesting. All these little things that needed to go right, down to who was going to lead this army. Like it's tremendous read. As the United States gets involved in World War II, we jump in, and I found this so wild to think about. And this is like one of the first chapters. At the beginning of World War II, the United States Army, and I'm going to say only, because it was only 170,000 fighting men. That sounds like a lot, but I have a feeling when it comes to wartime, you want more than that. I don't know.
I want as many as possible.
Yes, exactly, right? Okay, so that was in 1940, was what we had. In 3 years, we had taken the number from 170,000 to, I'm going to let you all guess just for fun. Write in the chat, how many do you think we had? Now, don't go billions. Think about how many people are in just the United States,
He
okay?
just gave you a hint there.
Well, I was just trying to keep people from going a ridiculous billion. It's like, come on. What do you think in 1992, I think it is, we had an armed force of what? We went from 170 to what? What do you think, Lil? What's the
Well,
number?
I see the number.
Oh, you
so
cheated.
I'm out.
You cheated. Okay, she's out. Chris, you don't have the notes pulled up, so what do you think?
From 170, let's say 1.7. Let's go 10 times 10.
Okay, times 10. How about Dwayne? I know you probably pulled up the notes as I pointed. Did you see the notes already?
Let's see. I'm going to say 7.2 million.
Yeah, that guy. That is correct. Oh, you're a genius. So right on this. So 7.2 million.
Gustav in the chat said 5 million.
That's
so
close.
he
Pretty good.
guessed.
So I just was blown away with the preparation that we had, and it was all in the idea that when we entered the war, we knew, and this is what you learn when you go back and can read journals of generals and commanding officers. They knew that the only way to win this war was a massive invasion, and it took 5 years, when did we invade? Was it 1945? I think it was June of 95. We invade. It took 5 years of planning to do all of the things. It wasn't just somebody dreamt it up today and executed it tomorrow. 5 years. I thought that was pretty wild. From knowing that they were going to land on the beach, we got to create tanks or vehicles that can be both move in water, and then once hit land can go. And we developed those things.
Yeah, you're not being taught that in school.
Right.
You know?
Oh, man. And it was wild to read it.
You
Like,
could take just an entire World War II class, you know?
Right.
yeah. The book is really good
There's
because
just
it
so
goes
much.
through all of those things. Like, we came up with the boat idea, and it was from some guy in New Orleans. We went to him. It was just a normal,
That
average
kind of makes sense, though.
boat maker, and we approach him. And people were really down on, the style of boat he creates, I think, was still out of wood, and they were really put off with the material they used because they're like, that's not going to work. And yet
That's called a prototype.
Yeah. It's just such a good. So, as I was reading the D-Day book, I'm just learning about the preparation and all the things that needed to go right. Was also me thinking about where we are as Unlocked Church. We're 8 years old. And I think what God's called us to do as a church and organization in 2024 took 8 years in preparation. We just didn't know we were preparing for the 8th year of what he was going to ask us to do. It's taken 8 years to meet you online and to have those that attend here locally. It's taken 8 years for us as an organization to be ready to do what is set in front of us in 2024, which we still have heaps of stuff that we got to do and plan and take care of and things. But it was just the understanding as I've been reading the book, the correlation of everything has been wild. And so let me let me get to the question that we talked about. We're going to give you a question that will help you figure out your why, your purpose in life. There's one question that will help you. If you can answer it, it'll be the thing that will guide you. It's the thing that's guided me since I was in 7th grade. It's really been the thing that has guided me. We teach our kids this way. We trying to parent through just a simple question that they as individuals answer, but it's all from me reading the stories of the Bible, like Nehemiah. Lily, give us the breakdown of who Nehemiah is. He's one of your faves.
Yeah.
So who is Nehemiah? Nehemiah has a whole book in the Bible. We're not going to turn to it, but you can go read. It's worth a read. If you want some homework this week, read the book of Nehemiah. Fun fact about Nehemiah, Nehemiah is the only book of the Bible that has no miracles in it. So if those things make you have to question a lot of things, and this is a good book for you to read. It's just a guy's response to the question we're going to ask. Give us a breakdown of Nehemiah.
Well, Nehemiah loved God, and he felt called by God and asked by God to build a wall around Jerusalem because his city didn't have a wall. It didn't have protection from outside forces. So kind of like along the lines of what we've been talking about, it broke his heart that his city didn't have protection. And so he started building a wall for his people. And my favorite, why I like him is because there were people, of course, there's always going to be people when you go after what breaks your heart, there's going to be people who discourage you, and they just were saying, why are you doing this? You need to stop. This is pointless. And just try to tell him to come down from building that wall. And he would say, I'm doing a great work. I won't come down. So that's Nehemiah 6.
And that's a good thing to attach yourself to when you know you're doing what God's asked you to do. There's going to be a lot of temptations to come down from what you're doing. Whole nother teaching, but it's good. It's inspiring. Dwayne, we're going to come to you because there's another individual in the Old Testament that, again, through the question, entire book is wrote on her experience of her response to a moment, and her name is Esther. Such a good read. It's a little odd story as well because it's about this king. Well, I'm going to ask you to tell the story. I don't know if you remember all the details and stuff, but Esther, what's the story, just a Cliff Note version of who Esther is?
Sure. So, can I take it? Like, can I bring in, like, let's. Anyone ever seen the movie 300? Like, there's the King Xerxes. Good. So this is the same king. Well, he basically has his queen exiled, and he's looking for a new queen. And he has this big, they bring in all of the eligible ladies, and out of everyone, Esther is chosen to be the queen. And she is actually a Israelite, and once she's chosen, her uncle is kind of an important guy, and one of the king's advisors kind of has it out for her uncle. So he kind of comes up with a way of getting rid of the uncle, and not knowing that he's getting rid of the queen as well, but he's just thinking, okay, hey, I'm going to get rid of this guy that I don't like. But Esther is positioned in a situation where she can actually go in front of the king and kind of plead her case for her people.
Yeah, that's a good that's the Cliff Notes version. Esther has an entire book of the Bible that you can go read this story. It's also in history books of the history of Israel, the nation. So it's good read again. But there's something that both of these individuals, and even as both Lily and Dwayne explained just a Cliff Note version of two human beings' stories, they responded to a question that it's already inherent in all of us. We just aren't always aware of the question. We are constantly in conflict with the question, and very few of us respond to the question. We often point somebody should do something about that. We want to come and give it to somebody else to do. And so there's a question that is confronted with both these individuals. And here's the question. You should write it down. It's not very complicated, but your answer to it will be complicated. The question is, in what these two individuals and many more, we got Paul, who wrote the New Testament. He tells us what breaks his heart. We're going to read that here in a second. But Nehemiah, Esther, and Paul all answer what breaks my heart. What is it that breaks my heart? It can be anything, to be honest with you. Like, you have Nehemiah. Why I use Nehemiah and Esther today? Because Nehemiah, it was a lack of a wall, obviously for his people, but it was a thing that broke his heart. There's not a wall, and in that day and age, a wall was the protection around the better your wall, the better you are as a nation. And so he saw a problem, and it broke his heart. And he didn't go to the king and say, "King, you should do something." He went to the king and asked permission to fix it. What broke my heart led to action. Esther, what broke her heart was the elimination of her people were going to be eliminated. Her heritage was going to be eliminated in what this guy was trying to do. And she was brokenhearted by the injustice, is that a word? To a group of people, and she was moved. That broke her heart. So she was moved to honestly put her life on the line, because she even says it in the story. If I approach the king, I'm only allowed to approach the king once a year, and that's not this time. If I go in front of him and he doesn't give permission, he can kill me. And she won essentially a beauty competition, and therefore became the queen. So she knew she was on thin ice, and all that didn't really have a relationship with this king. And she comes before him, has permission, and she says, "Hey, this was about to go down." And the result of both Nehemiah and Esther following what broke their heart, God used to change the world even today. Like, go back and read the stories. They're wild stories, and they're great stories and illustrations of what happened when men and women follow through on what breaks their heart. So I pose the question to you: what breaks your heart? What is it that you look at and go, usually it starts with someone needs to do something about that. That's usually where it starts, because we don't want responsibility, especially in 2024. We don't want responsibility, the liability of it. Someone could sue me, all these different things, right? You just go down. And so what it does is it keeps us from wanting to step out and do things when we have things that break our heart. Now, some people, you're going, "Well, I don't know what that is." But we'll pay attention now. You know the trick, the question to ask to lead to finding the purpose in your life, because oftentimes the things that break your heart are the railroad tracks to your purpose. Now, some are going to go, "But hold on. Well, mine isn't like yours, Scott. It's easy. You're a pastor. Well, I'm only a pastor because I'm following what breaks my heart. What breaks my heart, honestly, this is it. What breaks my heart, did I write it in here? I wrote it like this because I wanted to be consistent. My heart broke in 7th grade for those that didn't know Jesus. I want to reach those who are lost, that don't have hope, those who feel forgotten, to help. And now, as an adult and parent, to help the parents parent, to bring hope to the hopeless world, to see needs, meet needs, all because of what Jesus has done and will do for me. I want people to experience the same thing. What breaks my heart, people that don't know Jesus. It's not a get out of hell card. Notice I didn't talk about any of those things. It is literally what breaks my heart is people that don't know Jesus, because, man, knowing Jesus has been the best thing in my entire life. It's not an exemption of tragedy and things of that nature, but my goodness, I am a better person because I know Jesus. And those around me are better for it because I'm a kinder person. Not always. Lily can attest to that. Sometimes I'm not that kind, but most of the time I'm kind. What is it? It's out of what breaks my heart. I sit today on a camera and we're online today. Why? Because we constantly want to reach those that don't know Jesus. We want to take those that don't know Jesus, find Jesus, build a community of being able to see needs, meet needs in the community, and then turn around as a group of people and go back out and find more people that don't know Jesus. The whole point of today giving away heaters is, yes, see a need, meet a need, but in doing that, finding people that don't know Jesus and say, "Hey, join our community. We want to point you to Jesus. So we promise you your life will be better and you'll be better." It's all a way to continue to do what Jesus says, which we have labeled the Great Commission: go in all the world. Go. And we're going. We're going right now. You're a part of the go. You wouldn't be in this and part of this community have we not continued to go after what breaks our heart. Now, me, the leader of Unlocked Church, obviously my DNA is going to be into the church. I want to lead this church to constantly go for the unchurched, those that don't know Jesus. I want to reach for, but we got to take care of those that are in the building as well. It's not forget those that we have. It's taking care of making sure we're healthy as a church and a community, loving on those, seeing needs, meeting needs locally so that we can turn around and be a healthy force to conquer. And that sounds like, oh, wow, you say conquer. I'm not conquering people. We understand that there is a battle, a fight for those that don't know Jesus. And so we're entering in an armed forces battle in a sense of things. When I read about the United States Army in 1940, it was 170,000 people. Great, but not big enough to do what we needed to do for D-Day. So they bolster it. Unlocked Church, when we first started, was just my family and Lily. That was it. Well, year 8, we have more people and we can turn around and really laser focus ourselves on how are we going to go and spread the good news. How are we going to do that? And I wrote the how for me, and then again, it's Unlocked Church. It's again by Paul. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 9:19. Lil, you got that pulled up? Can you got the notes pulled up? Dwayne,
Yes. Yeah, I have them.
1 Corinthians 9:19. Will you read that?
Yes, he says, I am free and don't belong to anyone, but I have made myself a slave to everyone. I do it to win as many as I can to Christ. To the Jews I became like a Jew. That was to win the Jews. To those under the law I became like the one who was under the law. I did this even though I myself am not under the law. That was to win those under the law. To those who don't have the law, I became like one who doesn't have the law. I did this even though I am not free from God's law. I am under Christ's law. Now I can win those who don't have the law. To those who are weak, I became weak. That was to win the weak. I have become all things to all people. I have done this so that in all possible ways I might save some. I do all this because of the good news, and I want to share in its blessings.
I love that. Like, that's been one of my go-to scriptures, 1 Corinthians 9:19. But this isn't just reserved for me or Unlocked Church. This is what we should be. Us as followers of Jesus, this should be us. Not that we're faking it. He's not saying, what he's trying to allude to is that, man, when I hang out with the Jews, I'm not going to offend them. I'm not going to crack them over the head. I'm going to relate to them where they're at, to bring them to where I'm at, but I'm going to relate to them. I'm going to understand where they're at. I'm going to have compassion for them. I'm going to have empathy. We've been talking about this week. I read an article about teaching kids to have empathy. Chris, do you know, give us a good, now I know I'm putting you on the spot, and that's what we do around here a lot, okay? But what's a good definition of empathy?
Well, it's funny because empathy was the word I was coming. As you were reading that, Lily, that was the word that was striking me. Was the word empathy as well. Empathy is really your ability to have to emotionally connect and put yourself in that position. Is that a fair definition?
Well, now give me. It's close. What is sympathy?
Well, sympathy is feeling sorry for someone. That's like feeling sorry for what may be happening.
Okay.
Empathy is just to have emotion.
To have emotion.
Like it doesn't have to be sympathy. It could just be a relatability. You said relatability. I think that word works. So
okay.
I think, yeah. So yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, I like that. I think we can work with that. How about Dwayne? Dwayne, you got to add to what is empathy, and you guys can write it in the chat as well. How would you describe the difference between sympathy and empathy?
I think Chris summed it up great. Like that. I'm gonna go with Chris.
Dwayne, I like you a lot.
I think there's more to it. I think that's the default empathy. Now, I know I'm throwing these two fine young men under the bus a little bit and trying to get them to think about empathy here. I think it's a word we can use. It's going to be, I think, it's going to trend in 2024 because it used to be have sympathy for people. But now people are looking for empathy. But what if we don't know what empathy is?
I feel empathy is a range of emotions.
Okay.
Right. It's not. Whereas sympathy, I think, is more focused on sorrow or it's that compassionate. It's a version of compassionate empathy. Sympathy is a type of empathy. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It's a type.
A type of empathy.
Yeah, so here's how a working definition, meaning it can be added and tore apart a little bit, but I think the easiest tangible way to explain empathy is sympathy in action.
Ooh.
I think sympathy makes me feel sorry for. I think when you say sorry, I do think we tend to take that negative. Oh, I'm sorry, but we don't do anything. That's the problem with sympathy.
It's not apologetic. I think sympathy could just be, again, the loss of a loved one, right? There's sympathy in hurting with that individual who is grieving.
But I think you start, when you put sympathy into action, I think you start going to empathy. I think sympathy is the emotional response with no action. I think once you act, as soon as I come and say, Chris, I'm so sorry, that's me acting in sympathy, I'll pray for you, is like the baby step of empathy. Because now I've got an action behind it. It is really, we say it in a different way here at Unlock Church, and I've already said it, see a need. I'm going to see a need. To be able to see a need is I will move in sympathy. I feel that person's position in life needs help. My empathy will be I'm going to see that need. Or I'm going to meet that need, sorry. So we're going to see it, meet it. It's in action. And I think when you read here with Paul, he's going, all these group of people don't know Jesus. I'm going to go and I'm going to relate to them only to bring them to Jesus. Chris is pondering, I can tell.
Nodding.
The wheels are spinning.
I'm nodding if you are off on the side and the camera's not on me.
Yeah, Chris forgets that this is not all visual. He's nodded a lot.
This is not a podcast, right?
Yeah. How about Dwayne? Do you like that working definition or?
I do. And I think, doing some research, empathy involves feeling what someone else feels, while sympathy doesn't. So we can have sympathy for someone. Empathy, I see what you're saying about the actions, like the actions behind it. Yeah, let me ponder on that.
Yeah, because I think, again, teaching the next generation to have empathy for someone would mean teaching them to have action towards. Again, what breaks my heart is I see a problem, but somebody needs to do something. It's going to be me. I'm moving forward. I can have empathy for them. And for me, it has been for those that don't know Jesus. Now, I know all followers of Jesus are supposed to have some version of that. I think I have just felt it much bigger in my entire life. That doesn't make me better. It's just I know what I was going to go after. It could break people's heart on there's not food. There's a food shortage, so I'm going to figure that out. That's wonderful. That's what breaks your heart. God's going to break all of our hearts on different things. Remember, we went back to the two illustrations of Nehemiah and Esther. She was brokenhearted about a group of people. He was brokenhearted about a wall. But it ties to people. If what breaks your heart is you don't have money in your bank account, no. What breaks our heart always needs to come back to people and not you. If it's about your kingdom, you're missing the why, the what, and the purpose. It is always built around people. People. Like plural. It's not individual. It's like what breaks my heart is my family. Okay. How are you going to make that? What's the action? What's the, not just my heart's broken, I feel sympathy, I feel bad for that situation. I think there's got to be a movement to it. I love how Paul says I have become all things to all people. I have done this so that in all possible ways I may save some. That has been a life verse for me in student ministry. Why did I care about Justin Bieber's latest album coming out when I was as youth pastor?
Because I cared.
Because Lily was one of those students that cared. And so I cared.
All day long.
Now, all those things have helped me as a parent because I just naturally do those things. But because I train myself in a way to make things that matter to the next generation matter to me so I could talk to them about the latest trends and all those things because I would start there. They would get vulnerable and talk about now all of a sudden their parent relationship. And I was like, I could enter in what Jesus has to say and how to manage that sense of loss, or they talk about their identity or whatever. I could speak into those moments, but I earned that. And I think Paul is trying to teach, he's earning that. And I think I wrote my response to all those things in me as an individual, I wrote Unlock Church locally, digitally, and globally is going to go after those that don't know Jesus yet. And we are going to invite them to come join our community, building real relationships with them and them to Jesus. Then we will reach back into the community of the cities and go after those that don't know Jesus yet, all while taking care of those that call this place home. It's not one or the other, it's both. It's both. It's always has been. It's both. Those you that call this home, and we're the Dan and Jen in Tampa, right? Who had showed up at our missions trip and showed up at camp here. You're part of this community, and they were one of the older ones, not older in their age, but been around online the longest. So they're a part of this community. We think about you guys. We pray about you guys. This is not just cameras to us. It's thinking about when we look at all the national weather, like we go, oh, what's it going to be like in Tampa this week? We care about hurricanes coming out of the Gulf into the Tampa area in hurricane season. We care about what the weather's in Mississippi, ice storms and stuff, because we know they're not built for that. We care what's going to happen up in the northeast part, because we know we have groups of people up there as well, and we're watching all the. Why do we? Because you matter to us. And we're going to take care of you. We're going to partner with you. We're going to help you. So many of you have hey, I'm going through this. I need to move. And you've shared your stories. And what are we trying to share? Is that we are aware. You're a part of this community. It's not just about, great, we got some butts in the seats. Now let's go get more. Why would we want to grow? Not to count, but to snatch as many people from the clutches of the enemy who is seeking to destroy people. And why would we talk about mental health things last week? To help you deal with those things. Because we want to rescue you from the clutches of the enemy who wants to destroy us. That's Unlock Church. And as we grow, we need help. I was reading this. This is pretty wild. Go back to 1940s to 1945 technology, okay? They didn't have drones that you could fly around the sky and, like, go and get pictures of the beach they're going to raid it, right? So how do you plan an assault on a beach you have no video of? There's no footage of. You didn't have spy planes. Right? And so reading the book to see what they did, I copy-pasted it. Shortly after Dunkirk, so this is straight from the book, the BBC had broadcasted an appeal for postcards gathered over the years from families who had taken pre-war vacations in France. 30,000 postcards and pictures from the beach were sent in the first month. And eventually 10 million pictures were collected.
Wow.
And
that's a group of people being all in right there.
All in.
Request.
It wasn't just a group. It wasn't the generals and going, we're going to do it. It's a group of people that came together to help pull this thing. Those are the details you don't see anywhere. It's like they talk about what they did with these 30 or the 10 million pictures that came in. They started with the 30,000. They made a panoramic picture image by pasting them together, lining up all the postcards and stuff to get this beach picture that they could look at and go, this is where we need to go in. And then based on that picture, they sent in divers.
Wow.
Ooh.
To go in and sample how firm the sand was to make sure that when vehicles arrived, they didn't just sink in the sand like quicksand. So at night, soldiers came in, got samples, and then had to get out before the day. I'm just telling you, it's wild stuff.
That is wild.
I can see Chris, the wheels are spinning. He's like, whoa. I'm
just envisioning myself what diving equipment looks like in the 40s.
1940s. Yeah.
Like you've seen the original, I can't remember the name of the movie. I think was it Cuba Gooding, who was the first African American.
Is it A Few Good Men?
Is it A Few Good Men? Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, right. And you see he's got a giant head on, this metal like copper head.
Yeah.
You think about how that evolved and like
True.
I don't remember the time on that. But anyway, yeah, my mind is racing. I'm putting an image together of what this looks like.
Yeah, that's been the wild bit as you read it. It's like 1940s technology. You got to go back there because then you start going, whoa. But when I read the correlations to what, it was funny how I really picked up the book because I felt like what we're doing in 2024 as a church is a bit like we're planning a full-on assault, trying to snatch people from the enemy. Like we're saying, no, we might be little, but we're going. We're hunkering down on going after the unchurched. And so, but we need the help. Like when we were just talking earlier about doing the reviews, that helps in what we're doing. We had no idea until we met with an organization going, hey, you guys are missing a massive part here. No wonder why this is happening and this is happening. You guys you look kind of shady. It was like, it was disheartening to hear them say those things. And so we need your help, not just leaving reviews, but we need the help of you to invite people here. Like, maybe you're nervous to share the gospel with people. We're not. Like, think about inviting and partnering with your church to grow. I mean, there are billions. I mean, YouTube, I forget how many billions of people they have on YouTube that we would have the potential to go and get. But we have to invite them. If we just hope that we're going to bump into them, we're doing that periodically, and you might be one of those today that you clicked because you saw the image, and maybe you need to be inspired to go after what breaks your heart. Well, you've watched Unlocked Church, or you can watch Unlocked Church. How are we doing it? First, we as an organization feel led to going after it, really hunkering down, renew our passion for the unchurched, or those that don't know Jesus. I was reading Isaiah chapter 48, verse 17. This is such a good read. This is again to the Jewish people of Israel, but we can take a lot from it. God's characteristics, we can be inspired from it, and I took so many inspirations from this. This is what the Lord your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel says. I am your Lord God, who teaches you for your benefit, who leads you in the way you should go. And the part I'm pointing there is he leads all of us, not just Unlocked Church, the way to go. Not just me, because I'm a pastor. Every one of us, he leads us in what way to go. Are you being led? We as an Unlocked Church, we felt called and led to renew our passion in a massive way, going after the unchurched. We're renewing it. Isaiah chapter 43, another verse that we can just take, and this again confirms what we're talking about in the past. This is God speaking to Isaiah, to Israel, but again, we can pull the characteristics of God from this. Do not remember the past events. Pay no attention to things of old. Look, I'm about to do something new. Even now it's coming. Do you see it? Do you not see it? Indeed, I will make a way in the wilderness, rivers in the desert. We take, again, as a individual, I hope you take encouragement in that. That you might feel, well, this breaks my heart. I have no idea how to do that. Or you look backwards, well, I've tried to start a lot of things and I have failed. And you start looking backwards, why you're unqualifying yourself. And it's like, no, don't do that. Don't do it. Don't look backwards and go, well, I have this history. I have this medical thing. God knows all of those things. Don't look backwards going, what breaks my heart? I'm going to move forward. What's my next step? What's my next step? And we as Unlocked Church, we're asking ourselves, how are we going to do this different to reach those that don't know Jesus? What is the things we're going to do? And we're excited about, and we're about to break down how we're going to do this. Isaiah 54, verse 1. Somebody needs to take a hold of this and get excited about this, especially as you process what breaks your heart. Isaiah writes, again, the voice of God. He writes, rejoice, childless one, who did not give birth. Burst into song and shout. You have not been in labor. Those who've not been, you're praying for a child, but celebrate. You have no kids, celebrate. For the children of the desolate one will be more than the children of the married woman, says the Lord. Enlarge the sight of your tent, and let the tent curtains be stretched out. Do not hold back. Lengthen the ropes and drive the pegs deep. For you will spread out to the right and to the left, and your descendants will dispose nations, inhabit the desolate cities.
My version said you're going to need lots of elbow room.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I take a lot of inspiration in that. I mean, I feel like God's going to grow Unlock Church and what's there, exponentially? Is that-
Exponentially.
Yeah, like
Sure.
in massive ways in 2024. Here digitally and local. We're going to grow. We're primed for it. We're excited about it. Again, it's not about butts in the seats. It is about souls being put on mission to reach more people. It's to turn around and go, hey, we're going to a mission trip, and more people coming on a mission trip to do more work. It is not about filling an auditorium or making us feel good. Oh, yeah, look, we got so many people. And it's not to forget about those that are here. It is trying to reach more people. Our goal is not to be, this would be a very church term, mega church. Our goal is just constantly reach more people. Keep reaching people. Partner with people to unlock their God-given greatness and to take care of those that sit here in this community digitally and those that are in our auditorium. It is hunkering down on that. It's strategically planning. So you've heard me allude to, and this is we're going to get to some of the nuts and bolts of it. We're like, we need to grow. How are we going to do this? What do we need to do? And so we have hired an outside organization that is partnering with us since January, really mid-December, and they have started meeting with us weekly and cleaning our image up digitally. They're all up in our business, aren't they, Lil? On Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all these things. They're teaching us the things that, because we're so focused on people, and we didn't want to change that. We want to stay focused on seeing these meeting needs, but this organization that we are partnering with are going to help us grow as an organization. Now, this is a massive step of faith, meaning when we put the budget together, it was Chris famously said, what's your famous line we keep quoting? I don't think we've quoted it here about Unlock Church's budget.
Yeah, we were going through the budget, and I think I said something along the lines of, this is not how I would want my household budget to be run, or something along those lines.
Yes.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was an uncomfortable conversation.
With a smile, he said it.
Of course.
It was with a smile because we felt, again, going back to led by God. This is not we're not just being reckless, but we are, you will feel it digitally and you will feel it here locally. Both parts of Unlocked Church are going to feel what we're doing because of the bolstering of cleaning up ourselves digitally. And then here locally, our lobby looks like a movie theater. I think we have one sign. 8 years ago, we printed signs of here's the babies and kids. 8 years ago. It's time to clean up our environment so that we're ready for first-time guests coming in, because we're going to begin to create a massive onslaught of marketing to people locally and digitally over 2024. We can't do both at the exact same time. So the first half we're going to do here locally. In the second half, as the school year kicks off, we will market heavily digitally. But the great thing about digital, as we market local, we're going to market digital as well, softly. But we can't do both well at the same time. So if you're looking, well, how do we feel it online? It's us as an organization going, we value both equally. Just like parents, you shouldn't have favorites. You might have one that you like more in the moment because they're more well-behaved, but you love them all the same. We love both ministry opportunities we have on Sundays, this and in local, in the theater, and we're figuring out how to make sure we grow both and reach both. So we've put together a budget, and I came in and said, here, this is what I feel is the leader of Unlocked Church, where we need to go. We need to go and grow. We need to go and grow and take care of those that are here. We need to go and grow. And everybody was like, yeah. And then we said, well, how? And I was like, we got to be led by God. And at the end of our budget meeting, we pretty much put together a budget that is ridiculous.
Well, let's give ourselves a little more credit.
and when I say that, and I'm glad you said it, is because it's a high risk, But again, it's not out of our own thing. It is really, we talked about worship being a part of sacrifice. This is as a leadership team, a form of worship to God, a sacrifice of praise to God going, I really trust that you're going to show up and show off in all of these things, even as we hire an organization. That here's some of the cool things about the organization, and then Chris is going to get to some of the slides of the budget side of things, and Chris, Dwayne, and Lily and I can kind of discuss those things, and you can ask questions in the chat. But the organization that we're using to help us clean up digitally and marketing and all those things, I worked with an individual that is a prominent figure with this organization, so we know them. This isn't some rogue we just hired. This is through relationship, which makes it so much better on our behalf. The organization is called Verse. And you can look them up and stuff. You'll get a good idea of who and what they do. We're excited that they've said yes to us. They've never worked with anyone in the northern part, like the tundra part of the states.
Breaking new ground.
So they're excited to learn about Minnesota and how can we go from Minnesota to the global deal. So it's really cool that they're helping us clean up. They really are. They've given us a lot of work to clean up things. And so we have some slides really quick that we're going to go through budget-wise, just to give that clarity on what we say and what we mean, and to be very transparent of what it's looked like in 2023 going into 2024. And if you have questions, like I said, you can write them in the chat. If you're brand new around here, this is us being transparent. Before we get into that, because I don't want it on the backside of this, we will give you an opportunity to give your tithes and resources. And you'll see how important it is that you stay faithful with your giving and your generosity. But I'd rather do it now so you don't feel something at the end. Because this isn't about twisting on hearts. This is about us being obedient with our resources, with our relationship with God. We don't manipulate anybody. We know that your generosity and your giving is tied directly into your relationship with Jesus and your trust with him. And like we said last week, thank you for those that mail it in snail mail, those that do it this digital way that we're presenting here. Thank you. Because without you, we would have closed up. It would be done, over, gonzers. But the number you can text is 9779. 77977. Sorry, I thought when I ended with a 9 that didn't seem right. Something wasn't flowing. And then type the word unlock in there, and it'll walk you through. You can go to unlockchurch.com/give, and you can give right there. It's the same means that you have on your screen. And then you can go to unlockchurch.com, go to connect, I think it is. And
Contact.
Contact. And contact in there, and then you would get our P.O. box, and you can mail a check too. So thank you for you guys being able to do that. Now, Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you. So some of the nuts and the bolts. We have about 10 minutes, just so
I could do that.
Okay, and I'm going to interject, and we'll try to ask questions and stuff. But
before we launch into that, though, I want to go back to something that you said a minute ago, and I don't even know if people caught it. But yes, we are leaning in heavily, right? When I talked about myself, this is not how I would run my household budget. I think that's just my inward nature of wanting to remain in control. And I think as we were talking about our budget, there is a lot of faith. And to your point, it's a bit of a high risk budget going into 2024, but the reward is also so high. It's high risk, but high reward.
Yep.
And I think this year, as we've had a lot of DLT conversation, and Dwayne, feel free to jump in here too, now's the time.
yeah.
And that's kind of where we I think, settled out, and we felt really pushed this year to challenge ourselves and get out of our comfort zone. And that's where that feeling of that comment that I made earlier about, this is just uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And I think hopefully you will talk, I think it's our last slide. Second slide. A moment of redemption for me, emotionally and mentally. So with that, let's actually kick that off. I think that's a great segue.
Yeah, great job.
Okay,
great
thanks.
job.
First slide is really just capturing our giving units. We want to just throw up here. So this is kind of the boring part of the lesson right here. But this is our giving units this year. And so you can see year over year, 22, 23. These are really the main years that we've been really tracking and kind of splitting these numbers up in the way that we have. But you can see 2023, we incrementally. We're getting a few additional givers in our bucket to be able to provide. And again, you'll see this in the next slide, which hopefully ties this together.
But to your point, Chris, and I'm going to cut you off a
Please
bunch.
do.
So, but I think what the totals show us is that we are discipling. When we talk about we're taking care of people in house and we're discipling, we're teaching. How do you track that? Because I can't see your heart. I can't see, but you can see responses in baptism and giving.
Yep.
Those show discipleship, which discipling is just becoming more like Jesus and trusting more. And so those matter.
Yeah,
It-
obedience and
yeah.
trust. Again, for everybody on this list, right? If you're one of those people in this bar graph, thank you for trusting us
Yeah.
to be faithful with what you've given us so that we can continue to go out and do what God's called us to do, which is to reach people.
Yeah. And so both lines went up, and that's what, again, when we say that, you can take the slide off. When we say they'll went up, to me, it's not about the amount that it's just more people are giving. To me, it's a life changed. It's life on life. One life changes another life when we point them to Jesus. And so those lines going out only represent people are trusting Jesus.
Right.
It isn't, woohoo, more money. We get to buy a plane. We're not doing that. I mean, anyone close around here, I mean, we are coming to you from a converted shed. Okay? we're not after, we are, and you'll see, we're turning around money and doing ministry with it rapidly. So,
But you said what I was going to say. It really shows that people are trusting Jesus, and by trusting Jesus, they're trusting us.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, second slide. Let's throw it out. This is, again, trying to be sensitive on time here. This is our budget. We came in to the year with those little numbers that you have to kind of draw an imaginary line across the top, this 3D image. But you can see that it's lower than our actual, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so our income, our budgeted income, what we thought we were going to receive throughout the year, and then our expenses. And we were hoping to have a little bit of cushion, but that was, again, that part of that planning was to help us feel like we could position ourselves for something bigger and better and bolder in 2024.
Yep.
That was our mentality going into the year. Like anybody who's hung around Unlock for any amount of time knows that nothing goes as planned. 2023 was rocky. 2023 was a bump. We had a lot of unexpected expenses. We had a computer failure. For those here, especially online, like we were this close to not being able to be here for you on Sunday mornings.
Yep.
Right? And I don't know if it was February, April, I don't remember when that was, but it was cold. I remember being cold because we were talking about being in the studio and having a computer that didn't work. We had that. We had, obviously, the office was done in April. We needed a new home to be able to office and to have a studio that was more conducive to being able to conduct online videos and being able to communicate with you. And so our expenses were high. And things, honestly, as the back quarter was shaken out, it was feeling a little bit uncomfortable. How are we going to be able to have the resources to continue to do what we wanted to do from an ongoing kind of operating expense? And then if you go, throw that slide back up there, because I want to bring this home. This was my moment, my emotional moment. December numbers came into us this week. Like Tuesday, right? Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
This week. I sat down, I finally plugged that number into a little side spreadsheet that I've got. And I had a moment of collapse, of just joy and peace that cannot be described, of seeing that final number come in. I knew our final expense, and I'm sorry I can't quote the numbers here. Our final expense number came through, and God provided just enough to cover everything that we had spent throughout the year. You and God, right, just leaning in and trusting God for what that was. And I say just enough, I mean 0.45% more than what we needed.
Yeah, like just change,
Statistically,
change in
it
a
was
sense.
chump change in that sense, but 0.45%. So it was that, like, for me, it was that moment of God just reaching into my heart and saying, see, I got this.
That's awesome.
When you told
I
me
got
that,
you. I was crying. I mean, I had a moment. I went, I saw the number. I got all teary-eyed. My nose was starting to run. I went and got a tissue. My wife was in the kitchen. She's like, are you getting a cold? And then I turned around to blow my nose, and she saw, like, my eyes all watery and teared up. And I'm like, no, I'm crying. I said it all nonchalantly. No, I'm crying. Something going on?
yeah.
And I just had a moment of just telling her the story. I'm like, I saw the budget numbers come in, and we broke even for the year. And it was just such a relief. And again, that was just God, like, pounding me through my chest going, see?
Yeah.
See? What were you worried about?
And think about the teachings of
great.
Jesus. He talks about so many times the daily bread.
Yeah.
I will your daily bread, and we're all after. No, I want supplies for months, and so it's understanding daily bread means sometimes this is like I got you, and right at the end, poof, you come in with just a couple dollars over, and he's like, I provided your daily bread for all your needs, even the ones we didn't see or project to see, and the list goes. I mean. Here locally, we had TVs break. I mean, the list can go on that we didn't see happening, though the generosity of Unlocked Church stepped in and go, oh, we can see that need and meet that need here locally and take care of it so we can continue to reach people and stuff. So it was cool to see the actuals. Like you keep saying budget actuals. It's like, no, actually seeing what God's doing.
Right. Yeah.
It only confirmed what we were feeling and what we read from Isaiah. We didn't know this when we made the budget. Everything we've made the budget-wise was pre all of this information.
That's right.
It was Dwayne's got a thought.
Yeah. So going back to, I know we kind of started this off about the upcoming budget and how it's crazy, but I feel like for us in the DLT team, for the leadership team, like it's not crazy because like last year we were having conversations about, kind of like we wrote the largest check that we've ever written as a church, and we sent it to the Great Passion Play, and it's like there was some hey, do we step out in faith because like we know we know there's a good chance that we're not going to meet budget, that we're gonna, but we felt God calling us to do that.
Yeah.
So to walk through this year and even all the different ups and downs, both personally and as a church, it's like seeing how God is faithful in those times. Whenever he calls us to step out again, it makes it that much more, hey, this is not crazy. This is just us being obedient. We have that faith that God is going to provide for us again.
Right.
So it's
said,
not crazy for us. It's going to be, not crazy for us.
No, that's well said. And I think as we talk about the 2024 budget, and we always, as crazy as crazy, we say that because we think those that are hearers of it are going to go, that's crazy, that's wild. We're trying to give you intel that would make it less crazy, because the intel will confirm, look what God's done in the past. Why would we behave like he wouldn't? And we turning around going, hey, we want you to experience what we as a leadership team got to see and experience. But now we're going, hey, as a church, we want to grow, and we're going to need you to do that. And we're financially going to commit to it. We're financially going to go, okay, again, God's calling us to, in a sense, write a bigger check than we wrote last year. It's like 3 times the size of in the new year, and having no idea where that's going to come from, and go, okay, we're going to trust in that, because why? We're going after unchurched people. And again, I got to put this in there. I don't think we're going to fail, but if we fail, it's what's the worst we did? It's our worship to God. God, we were willing to take a risk. And it didn't go as planned as we thought, but you see our hearts. We're willing to jump in the deep end and trust you with all things, which I hope that only inspires you to go back and answer what breaks your heart and go after it. Figure it out. And so we've done that for 8 years. And so this budget, it's crazy, audacious, but not really to us. But to you sitting at home, you might, that's unwise. We are stepping out in faith again. Your church is stepping out in faith. Why? To reach people that are hopeless, and that breaks our heart. And we're not going to stand idly by and watch people that don't know Jesus continue to put their trust in anything other than Jesus without saying something. And so when we talk about this marketing, to us, it's spreading the gospel. The way we're doing it is unique. Way we're asking it to be done, we're tweaking it to be our brand and our style, that it would be reaching people with the good news. It's not about, look how cool we are. It is genuinely like these marketing things, and then we'll get to the numbers of it. This company that's working with, we're going to be able to target zip codes with digital invites. You've all experienced them when you're on a website and you see over there, Oakley glasses I see all the time when I'm on. Why? Because I've searched Oakley glasses, and now it's tracking me, and all of a sudden, hey, you got these glasses, you need these glasses. It's marketing, but what we're going to do with those is if somebody searched how to raise children, we're going to go after those families, because what we said is we want to target young families. We want to target young professionals, and we want to, right? We're choosing right now at the beginning, we're choosing who and how, and we're going to market to them. Need help raising your child? Unlock Church is a safe place for you. What are we doing? We're saying we have the good news about how to raise your child, how to be like a follower of Jesus, all those things. We're not marketing how awesome pink and purple are because that's our colors for Unlock Church. We're marketing the gospel, but we are not calling it marketing because we're using a term that business world uses, but we are genuinely spreading the gospel and what we're doing in the hopes to find people that don't know Jesus and connecting with Jesus. We met with the verse this week, and they were going down this road, and I stopped and I go, listen, I do not want to even give an inkling that we would go for, if don't put anything on there that an unchurched person would never understand, because that means we're going for people that sit in churches right now. If they're sitting in a church right now, they stay put. We're after those that are going to Viking games and hockey games that don't know Jesus. That's who we're going after. And so what does it look like for 2024, Chris?
I was thinking as you were talking about that, like the word marketing has such a kind of a, to your point, negative kind of business connotation. I kind of like it's a connection campaign.
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
It's a connection campaign. Well, let's throw that slide up there because I do want to be, again, this is just a snapshot, but you can see the difference between what we had budgeted last year and where we are putting our efforts this year. You can see a massive increase right there on that ministry side. That's the campaign, the connection campaign that we're talking about right now. You can see we're doubling down in that area, right? This is an area we feel so passionate about this year, and we feel God has equipped us. God has brought this company, before us through these relationships, and has said, "Hey, I got a better way, and this is a way that you haven't been able to explore." So we've got a group of experts who are going to help us connect.
Yep.
And so I love it. Again, this is just a snapshot, but man, I get goosebumps because I just know when we turn, this week, next week, we turn the switch on and it's a whole new ballgame.
Yeah, and again, with that slide back up there, I love the fact that obviously you see the spike in me, you're like, whoa, personal seems really, that is what it takes to run any nonprofit is you're paying staff, but in order to process the banks and all of those things, it's not just writing checks. There is a proper way to do that. So that in personal is a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
I think one question someone might have is why it almost looks like someone got fired because the personnel is lower this year. But can you explain how we cut costs?
Yeah, well, it's
there?
all
No one got fired.
It's all proportional. Yeah, it's all proportional, right? So if you think about, we have a max 100. If 100's your number, and you're making shifts into your budget, it is a matter of just reproportioning things. So again, our administration costs didn't go down; they actually went up a tiny bit, but that's part of inflation. That's part of a little, a percent increase. Our facility, our rent went up this year, but it looks like it's coming down. So it's not. It's really all a matter of just proportion.
Thanks.
So yeah, there's no one's getting fired.
Yeah, no one got fired. No one got a decrease in
fact,
pay.
We're adding a staff, a group of people even, right?
Yeah, that's how we view it.
Effectively, we're adding a group of experts who know what they're doing digitally and can move Unlock in the right direction to, again, reach people and connect in a way that we don't know how to do.
And again, as we land the plane, the thing with, and if you have more budget questions, man, we're an open book. You can email the church at info.church.
Info@unlock.
Oh, yeah, thank you. info@unlockchurch.com, and you can ask your questions, and we would love to answer those. What I want to make sure that when we are doing what we're doing now with this verse agency, this is where we need you. We need you in 2024, first and foremost, to invite people. Like, that's just the Great Commission for everyone. And while you're sorting out your business on, am I going to do that or not, we're, as Unlock Church, we're hunkering down even more so. We're going, okay? But we need you inviting people all the time. It needs to be something you're training yourself, inviting people to Unlock Church. Copying, pasting this. But also going in what we said, weekly making reviews on Unlock Church's service this week, dropping a comment at the end of this underneath these videos, liking these videos. Those things all help us get the value out of what we're doing versus. If you don't do those things, it's not as effective. This is where it's an all hands, like we all got to move in a direction, being faithful with our resources and being generous with the overflow, and then going, okay, I know one of my jobs that this is going to help us. I'm going to write a review and write it in your calendar. Once a month, I'm going to write a review in these 3 things. I'm going to go make sure I'm following on Instagram. All of those things help us get the bang out of the buck with what we're putting in there. And at the end of the day, we want to be faithful to what we're doing. And so those things help us. This is not just your staff doing it. This is everybody coming on. This is how we are going to do our part in going into all the nations and spreading the gospel. We're super excited about it. I can't wait a year from now to look at just the people's lives that have been changed from us risking so much to go after. At the end of the day, this is how I started the conversation with the leadership team. I go, I'm willing to put my salary on the line. I will go get another way of getting income. I won't stop being the pastor of an lecture. I'll figure that out if this goes sideways to keep doing it. That's how much I'm in. I'm all in. I don't say that to be cute or anything. It's just that's how much I'm in on this. Is like I'm buckling down. And there could be a chance that is what the story is. Who knows? I'm not trying to twist God's arm and say, you got to make it. It'll be a fail if I have to go. Nope. That's just how much I want to reach people that don't know Jesus and take care of this church. And so it's a high risk, high reward. It's going to be exciting, but we need your help to do it. This is not just us sitting on this side of the camera. I know we went a little bit long today, but we had a lot of information, a lot of slides to share. But we hope you're feeling inspired. And if anything, your church hopefully is inspiring you to figure out your purpose, your why, your what, and what breaks your heart. And now go do something. Because you're watching us, go do something. We're not sitting around and just praying it in. We're praying, but we're actively doing something with those prayers, going, God, this is what we can do on our part. This is where we feel led as a church, and we're going for it. So thank you, everybody, for trusting us with your resources, being a part of this. It's going to be an exciting 2024. There's going to be, just like last year, ups and downs, and who knows what's going to happen with what. But at the end of the day, Jesus still sits on the throne, and he is sovereign, and we will trust him along the journey with the goods and the bads and in between. So let's pray really quick. Jesus, I thank you for everyone watching today. I thank you for those that give faithfully here. I ask that you would show up and show off in their lives, that the things that they have planned in 2024, they would be inspired by you, that they would be led by you to go and do those things, that this would not be just reserved for Unlocked Church, but it would be a way to inspire other followers of Jesus to answer the question which breaks their heart and then go do something about what breaks their heart. May today begin that journey for them, more than losing weight or accomplishing anything else. May they just accomplish figuring out what breaks their heart and go after it. And us as Unlocked Church, we just ask that you would continue to provide the resources to do the things you've put on the heart of this organization, that we might be able to go on mission trips, that we'd be able to do our camps, and we would be able to do the spreading of the gospel through verse. We thank you for all of those things in your name. Amen. And in 24, I just even praying there, we still have our camps that we still bolstered our mission trips. We're still doing mission trips. We're still doing camps. We're still doing our group rides this summer, more in bigger than we have in the past. So we didn't go, we're not going to do those things to do this. We added to what we're doing. And so we have mission trips coming up. We have camps for you to plan to be at. We'll give you those dates of those things next week so that you can potentially fly out here and be a part of those camps and potentially go to the mission trips down in Arkansas, dirt surfers with us, or Windman in Wisconsin. So those are a lot of things that are happening. We're really excited about what 2024 looks like. Dwayne, thanks for being here today. Braving the cold weather there in Mississippi, 20 degrees. It is cold.
Yeah.
It's brutal. We love you,
guys.
Dwayne. We'll see you this afternoon at the leadership meeting. Have a great one. Stay warm till then. Lil, thanks for being in all neutral colors today. It's fabulous.
You're welcome.
Always good to have you. Chris, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
And sporting the plaid.
Yeah, the plaid men. We got it done. And the beards.
And the beards.
Yeah, we totally are lumberjacks.
Yes, we are. We're very Minnesotan.
Yeah,
today.
we should put stocking caps on. What we're thinking. Everybody watching today, thanks. Have a fabulous week. We love you. Copy, paste the link. Share it with somebody. You know you can scrub to where you want it to start. So if you want it to start right at the teaching, whatever, scrub it there, and it'll copy paste the timestamp there, and boom, it'll give the teaching to somebody else to answer the question, what breaks their heart, and maybe they would pursue those things and ultimately change the world. We love you guys. Signing off for this Sunday. Bye now.